Well, I found a bit of a project tucked away in the back of the yard, back of the workshop. XVS 1100 custom, and I've got a box of bits. They look like this: seat pan, forward controls, rear light, mudguard brackets, bits and pieces. So there's a tank somewhere and a seat. Let's see what we can do with it. See if we can make a good looking bike out of this thing. Don't like the headlights or the spotlights, don't like the indicators, don't like the crash bars, don't like the exhaust, don't like the fenders. What do I like? Yeah, XVS 1100, an ideal bike because you get their swing arm at the back. So that's the back of the frame being cut off, and just repaired the cuts. I didn't like that windscreen, so I started taking it apart, and one of the bolts was seized. So it's like a stainless bolt into the aluminium yoke, and you'll see in a minute I was really struggling with that, and had to get the welder out and weld a nut onto the end of the bolt. That was the stud that was left to extract it. So here's the crash bars coming off. There's two brackets, one either side at the bottom, and two bolts at the top. You can see the bolts out. It's quite corroded actually, a little bit damaged. Probably only any good for powder coating and refitting to a rat bike, something like that. I was fiddling about with the headlight here. One of the springs pinged off into a pile of cardboard, which was rather frustrating, but surprisingly I found it. So let's get it on the ramp. This is a big blue easy riser lift. Absolutely ideal for these bikes because they've got two big rails that run underneath. So I took the rear wheel out, taking the disc off. Those bolts are real devils, and one of them rounded. But I'm not using that wheel again, so I had another wheel, powder coated wheel. There it is. So put the diff in, slide it in. It's useful to have the bike on the ground when you're doing this, so you don't have to lift the wheel, just roll it in. So just cleaning that wheel up, it was a bit dusty. It sat around for a while. And I found the output shaft to the gearbox, the input shaft into the diff, was a little bit grubby, so that cleaned up nicely. So I've picked up the number plate light and number plate lamp holder, so that goes onto the swing arm. And putting the number plate in. It's a small plate, it's not strictly legal, so you have to put a big plate on for an MOT. So that quickly goes in, it looks really neat. Begin to see what the bike's going to start to look like. So I attacked the chrome a little bit. Those casings are notorious on Yamaha for corroding, but this one's only done 7,000 miles. So they're in pretty good shape. So if you've got this far during the time-lapse videos, you'll see we've done the back end. We've hacked off the back of the back frame of the bike, painted down here. We've switched the wheels because the original wheel was chrome and past its best. I had this ready, and a better tyre. The other one was a bit flat in the centre. And we've cleaned a bit of the chrome, and we've got the front end to deal with. I'm still undecided about these lights. I've taken the little peaks off them, so I thought they looked a bit dated. But so I'll get on today with cleaning up the front end, and then these forks. If you notice, there's quite a lot of pitting. So what's happened here is a little stone or a little piece of grit has hit the lacquer, pierced it, and allowed moisture to get in and is lifting the lacquer. So what I'll do is I'll strip the front end down. Well, I've got a new wheel for the front end here. It's been powder coated already. So I'll strip the front end down this afternoon, clean it all up, and what I'll do with these fork legs is I'll 600 or 800 wet and dry them, then 1000, then 1200, and then polish them. So you had a good look at what they look like now. So let's see what they look like when I've attacked them. But I think we're getting there. That back end looks good, doesn't it? Like a number plate holder. The wheel looks cool. So we'll do that. Oh, the other thing is a parcel's arrived with an exhaust in it. So quite excited about that. So I'm stripping the front end down, taking the wheel off. I'll take those discs, rotors off, put them on the new wheel that you've just seen. So searching through my stock of wet and dry, and I was attacking this. I started, I think, with 240, bit of brake cleaner there going on. Get rid of any grease or oil on it. And I was attacking with 240, then 800. I couldn't really get through the lacquer. It was coming off in places and not in others, and I was unhappy with the finish I was getting. But I kept at it for a while. It's important to get in all the nooks and crannies. It is quite a time-consuming job, really, quite messy. I've spent a good hour doing that, I think. So I was drying them off, just warmed them up a little bit to get any moisture that was held on the surface gone. And then I was masking the bike up. I just changed my mind really, rather than polishing them. Yeah, I decided to paint them, so give the bike a good wrap up, so not getting any overspray anywhere. And give them a prime. And then I warmed that up, left it for an hour or so, and then hit it with some matte black, which I had in stock. Look a bit glossy there, don't it, with the paint wet. So that's a big improvement. One tip you need to be aware of is I've got the rear wheel just chocked. When you take the front wheel off, you sort of upset the balance of the bike on the stand, and it feels like it's going to tip over. So here's the tank, a bit dusty. It's been painted about a year ago, and the seat pan, just lined that up and then had to drill through where the bolts go. And the battery on the drill went flat. So I've just spent the time while that was charging building up the speedometer and instrument cluster. Give things a little polish while I'm at it. So every part you take off, polish, put back, ready to rock and roll. Here the drill's charged up again, so finish that drilling of the seat pan. Bit of a change of plan with the front forks, as you can see. I was getting through the lacquer and couldn't really get the finish that I wanted, so I sprayed them satin black. They look quite good. They look well with the black wheels. Tanks come up nice. So the new bolts arrived for the rotors. Put those on. This second wheel that I had, which is already powder coated. Cleaned up those aluminium discs, the stainless steel discs near the centre of the wheel. So assembling the seat on the seat pan and the springs. Really high quality products these, all lovely powder coated parts. So I've attacked that light bar and that's all gone. Took the headlight off. Took me a while to work out how to mount the indicators where I want them. They're nickel chrome with dark lenses and 2 filament bulbs which I wired together so they're ultra bright. I think I got there in the end and worked out how they'd go. They seem to foul the yoke, but got there in the end. And the wiring, a lot of people are very frightened of the wiring. It's very simple. There's only 2 wires really out of each indicator. And in the headlight, there's 2 wires which control the indicators. One's green and one's brown. I forget which is left and which is right, but it's really very simple. You just have an earth and a feed for each indicator. There's always a problem of a bit of a nest of wires that you end up with and trying to get them all back into the headlight bowl. And on this bike, because it's a custom, you get this small headlight. So there's an element of tidying the wires up before I put it all back together and taking a bit more of the sheathing off. So that gave me more room inside. Just noticed beneath that indicator there's a bolt missing on the yoke. Testing it all out. Got main beam, dip beam. Well, here the exhaust has arrived. Came with 3 parts actually. Don't need that downpipe from the. So here's a very simple process of fitting the exhaust. Just slip off the rear 2 pipes. There was 1 unit. Oh, you have to fit the top one first, as you can see there. I tried to fit the bottom one first. So fit the top one, do the clamp up, do the bolt up, put the bolt in, do the clamp up on the second one, and we're on. Interestingly, what's happened when you improve the breathing of the bike by putting open exhaust on it, you need to rejet the carbs or adjust the primary pilot mixture screw. Anyway, the tail light was going on, and I like to really make them weatherproof by shrink wrapping all the wires. And there's an earth wire as well that goes on, but it needs to. There's a little sort of cloaking cowl that goes over the back of the light, or the front of the light really, which you need to get your earth wire just right for that. So I put the like fibre sheathing over it, and then you tie wrap it to the swing arm and bring it into the area under the seat. It's a lovely light, LED lamp. There's that little cowling going on. Really does make a nice fitting. It's very bright as well, which is kind of reassuring when you're riding the bike. As you can see, indicators working and just testing the brake light. Now I've taken the foot controls off, foot pegs, disassembled them all, had them all shot blasted and powder coated. What was happening here is I put them on, that's the brake light switch that goes on. But I had a problem with that brake pedal in that some of the powder coating was on the shaft. So scraped the powder coating off, just that's what I was doing there, and greased it up. And you want a lot of free movement in that, because there's not a very strong spring that pulls the pedal back up when you've used it, and then just testing it and adjusting it with a 17mm spanner. You just lift the switch to make it a bit more sensitive. So it's time to put one of the side panels back on. This is a locking side panel on the near side. So give it a good clean up, get in all the nooks and crannies before you put it back. And give it a polish. Looks really well, doesn't it? That's the chrome panel you get on a custom. You don't get that on a classic, you get a painted one. Just keeping the bike clean and getting all those little nooks and crannies. There's a bit of oil down there, a bit of road dirt. I really enjoy this bit. So here's the other side panel going on. This has got a screw fitting, covers the battery. and there was a bit of marking inside that little hole just there where I'm working now, and I got a new stainless steel bolt to go in there. Seats on, rear indicators are on. I was changing the spark plugs here. Spark plugs on bikes seem to have a life of their own. Once they fail, there's no coming back for them. And this bike hadn't run for a couple of years, so I put some new plugs in it just to make sure life was a bit easier. So just put about a gallon of fuel in. Right, I put new plugs in. I put about a gallon of fuel in. So let's see if it starts. It hasn't run for a couple of years. We'll have the old clutch juice handy. Easy start. Let's try it out. So choke, ignition. Run, and see what happens. If you can hear that backfiring there. Bit poppy and banging. I'm running too lean. We'll have to have a think about it. So brake calipers back on. See, I had them hanging up so they weren't stressing the pipes while I was working on the forks. If you just leave your calipers hanging, they tend to damage the supply pipes or strain them at the best. You probably remember it was backfiring a lot. And we've changed the pipes. So we've changed the volume of air that's going through the engine, but we haven't changed the mixture of the carbs. So it's running very lean, and that's why it's backfiring. So there's unburnt, so it's not firing properly in each of the cylinders because there's not enough fuel. And there's unburnt fuel going down the exhaust pipe and igniting, that's what's causing the backfire. So actually what happens, with more volume of air going through, because we've improved the breathing with the open exhausts, we need to increase the amount of fuel that's going in by adjusting the pilot mixture screw. And I'll show you where that is, but I'll show you the effects. I've opened up each of the pilot mixture screws on both the carbs, probably a turn and a half, to stop the backfiring. So let's see what it sounds like now. I'll give it a bit of shake because it's completely cold. I noticed at this point that it was just the rear cylinder that was popping. It's still backfiring a little bit on the rear cylinder. So see if we can just do a bit more. It's very tricky to get to that. See if that's just good enough. Still more needed. After I've raised the mixture, increased the mixture, the idle had picked up considerably. So I'm about to drop the idle down. It's had quite a marked effect. So it appeared to be a combination of mixture not too lean and the idle setting of the carbs too far open. Well, I think it's a combination of having a little bit too much idle speed, as well as not enough fuel in the rear cylinder, because it was only one of the pipes that was banging. So it looks like we've got it. The next thing that's crossing my mind is that the clutch might be stuck on. I have a bit of a habit of doing this. So what I'm going to do is start it up, engage gear with the wheel just off the ground, and then use the foot brake to stop the wheel, make sure the clutch is free. So let's see what happens. Right, the clutch is frozen. I wonder if that broke it. Well, if the clutch was frozen, it's now not. So that's another thing out of the way. Now, to get the bracket to mount the rear fender on, I had to drop the air pressure in the tyre. It's quite a tight fit, and if you just drop the air pressure, you can get the part on. So I just inflated the tyres to the correct pressure, which is 32 psi front and rear, although I've probably put them at 31 because I've taken some weight off the bike. Well, we're nearing completion now. Just have a recap on what we've done. We've changed both the wheels, powder coated wheels. We've fitted a lovely high quality solo seat and seat pan on springs. This is an aluminium painted rear fender, black nickel chrome indicators, highway halt short shots or long shots, whatever you call them, slash pipes. I've powder coated all the foot controls and brackets. They were looking a bit tired. Had the tank painted black, front fender painted black. We've painted the front forks matte black, again nickel chrome indicators. Removed that ugly passing light bar, didn't really suit the bike. Again powder coated wheels, powder coated foot pegs, rear light cluster LED light, like a sort of early 30s Ford light. I've kept the standard bars and grips and mirrors, although they could change. I've got some I could fit. What do you reckon? Think I should change the mirrors and grips? Got some Avon grips. Maybe I'll do that. It's got a little bolt to go in here. 2 little bolts just up there. Oh yeah, I'll show you the pilot mixture screw. There's the pilot mixture screw. That is the idle adjustment. That wire there is to the heater, the carb heater, and that little castellated screw there. Get a bit of light on it. You see that? That one there. That one just there. That's what you turn out to increase the idle mixture. Well, not only the idle mixture, it's the mixture throughout the range, but it stops it backfiring. What do you reckon? Think it's better looking than it was? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Next video, is it running or riding? So just back from a successful trip to the MOT station. You'll see I've really cracked the backfiring issue. The bike's nice and warm. So no sign of backfire at all down to adjusting the pilot mixture screw. And there she is, MOT'd, ready for the road. Really pleased with the bike, rides beautiful, gear change is really slick and easy. And performs beautifully. So what a lovely bike. Do you think that's better looking than the custom we started with? I hope you do. I hope you've enjoyed watching the build as much as I've enjoyed building it. See you next time.